Are you ready?
We're lady!
And welcome to Idol Days, the show about idol anime. I'm Star.
I'm Sarah, and I brought back from the dead my wife.
And I'm Athena.
Woohoo!
Yay! Athena's here again!
Just so everyone knows, because this episode is coming out the 1st of November for Cursed Idol October, Athena is podcasting from the crypt, so she might sound a little raspy, but she is back from the dead, here to bless your ears with idol noises from the afterlife.
She's low-key haunting this podcast, which is appropriate because the show that we watched for this episode is a show about an idol ghost, idol hauntings. Yippee!
Yippee!
Segway.
Phantom of the Idol.
Yes, which I love that that's absolutely just the dorky localized title. Because the Japanese title is Kamikuzu Idol.
Yep.
And I forgot to look up what that translates to. Did either of you do that?
No. Kami is... Well,
Kami's God, but I don't know what Kuzu is. Hang on. I'm going to look it up.
Idol of the Afterlife would be my guess.
We are professionals.
So Google doesn't know.
Google doesn't know.
Google doesn't know.
That means it doesn't exist. It's fine.
There is no anime. We've all lied to you. This is our April Fool's episode once again where we just make up an anime on the spot, and we made up this one. That's what happened.
Except it didn't. It's haunting you. Woo! So the premise of the show has nothing to do with the localized title. This does not have to do with a mysterious masked man who haunts a theater and tries to kidnap the lead soprano.
Da, 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 da. Dun, 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 dun.
So I've seen segue. Wow, early game segue. Phantom of the Opera is one. Here's my hot take. Oh, it's by the way, This was a reference to Phantom of the Opera, everyone, which is done. Was created by Andrew Lloyd Webber's who did do the hit anime musical Cats, as we all know. However,
Did you just call him Andrew Lloyd Webber's son?
Shut up.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Anyways, and Phantom of the Opera is actually one of the musicals I have seen the most times live. I've seen it like 3 times in person, and I do not like Phantom of the Opera.
Do you like any musicals, Sarah? Because that's 2 for 2 that you hate.
I love a lot of musicals. I just don't like Andrew Lloyd Webber.
She just can't name any right now.
Yeah, we have to give her time to come up with a list, go on Wikipedia. Not that Wikipedia is helpful, as we've already found out.
But yes, I out of all the musicals out there, I've seen Phantom of the Opera and Wicked equal amounts of times. I like Wicked. I hate Phantom.
I also have a brief segue. My freshman year in high school, our English teacher was capital O obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. We did our entire first semester. We had to work on individual projects where we each pitched like a custom creative project about Phantom of the Opera. We read the book, we watched the movie, we watched the taping of the musical.
That would haunt me.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da. Anyway, so this has been our Phantom of the Opera cast. Yep. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Athena, tell us about your Phantom of the Opera segue. I know you have exactly one.
Oh,
I'm talking about Fate.
Look, if you want me to make this podcast 3 hours long, I will start talking about Phantom and how he was actually very important to the plot line of going through England.
Give it to me in 30 seconds.
He uses his noble phantasm, which is just him calling to Christine based on a giant organ, allows them to overthrow the Roman Republic.
Cool.
So that's our Phantom segues. Anyways, anime.
Da, 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 da. We're professionals. Anyway, yes. So Phantom of the Idol is the anime that we watched for our spooky Idol October episode, even though this is coming out in November. Don't worry about it. Halloween was yesterday. It's fine. But the concept of the show is actually a pretty interesting one. So basically, the main character is one half of a idol group called Zings, Z-I-N-G-S. And he hates being an idol, does not want to do it.
Star's worst enemy.
I hate this man, but it's fine. He basically just became an idol because he got scouted and he thought he would be an easy way to make a quick buck.
Yep.
And so he's been at it for like over a year and hasn't quit yet. And he just kind of hates it. And their group is not very popular at this point. He just he sucks. But by some random happenstance, he is able to see the ghost of another idol who is this girl. Her name is Asahi, and she passed away. She was like a very famous idol, but she passed away in a car accident about a year before the first episode. And she is able to temporarily possess his body and help him be a better idol. And that is basically the core premise of the show, is the two of them working together to improve their idol group, make Nyoto, our main character, a better idol, and just, comedy shenanigans.
Yeah, and it really is like, okay, so I've also read the manga since I watched the show, because I like mangas. And the manga really is in a similar way. It's a comedy manga, so lots of short chapters that are gags. Similarly, the show is largely made up of gags, so I imagine it'll be a relatively quick summary. But the wild thing is, so a lot of the shows we watch are based off of like these multimedia experiences. So they'll have like concerts, and they'll have like a real life idol group, and they'll have like a mobile game tie-in or an arcade game tie-in. But this one's kind of weird, where it's like just based off of a manga and nothing else. But they still put out like a full album of music with it, which is wild.
Oh, nice. Well, there were like more songs than I expected to be in the show.
And even like in episode 1, the song went on for a long time. We thought it was just going to be a snippet.
The whole concert, which is wild. And the music is good, which is also wild. I was looking it up, and like the composers for all the songs are like composers who've worked on like other like Anasong and Idol music. Like they've done like Idol 7 and Idol Master and Prepara, and it's like, oh hey, and here they're doing Phantom of the Idol.
Da 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 da! So before we get too deep into it, can I tell an interesting story about my experience with this anime?
Yes, tell us your experience, Star.
Okay, so first of all, the two of y'all started watching this before I did, just chronologically, because I was, spoiler alert, super busy for basically the entire month of October. I binged this show in 2 days.
Hell yeah.
Last week. But you guys started watching the show earlier than me, and so we actually got to hang out with each other because we were all at a friend's wedding pretty recently. And the only thing that you guys told me was, hey, Star, have you started watching Phantom of the Idol yet? And I said no. And you guys said, oh, okay, you're going to hate the main character. And I didn't hate him as much as I expected to after that, just because, like, I feel like you guys set him up for failure.
Yeah.
And yeah, he does suck.
He does.
Quite as much as I thought. I thought he would be more of a rampant dickhole, but he's more just kind of like a lazy prick.
He's just a piece of shit.
I'm like, whatever. It's I like him being the butt of the joke most of the time. That brings me joy.
Yes, he's a lazy butthole. No, well, asshole. He's a lazy asshole. I can use bad language on this naughty Halloween night.
He's a lazy booty hole.
He's a lazy booty hole, but he is meant to be the butt of the joke also, which is nice.
Yes. Yes.
But
but yeah, so I had heard the premise of the show, and I had heard you guys say that, and while I was watching the show, I was, just kind of like sitting, and I was watching it, and I was enjoying it, but there was just something that felt off about it to me. And I was just like, what is it about this show? It's not that it's bad. It's just, I feel like my expectations aren't exactly being met, but not in like a bad way. And it took me the entire anime to figure out why I felt that way. And I realized during the concert in the last episode where those feelings were coming from, and I realized it was because this is not the first, not the second, but the third time we have had an anime on this show where a dead idol is a major focus of the story, and this was the first time it was not a drama.
You were waiting for the hole. You wanted to know what was in the pit.
I was waiting to find out what was in the hole.
Starla is like show hole.
This is a reference to one of our other episodes. I forgot what the anime was.
Gekidol, the haunting nightmare child of this podcast that haunts my dreams.
But the true ghost that haunts Star.
Because Selection Project and Idly Pride are both shows that I watched as solo shows before we changed the format of the podcast. And both of those involved famous idol dies either very early on or before the series starts, and then they kind of quite literally haunt the narrative.
Yep.
And both of those shows are like very dramatic, very heartfelt. There's a lot of emotions and like deep conversations between the characters because, you know, it's kind of a dark topic, and these are like it gives the characters a chance to really work over these feelings, and it's really interesting talking about like what is an idol's legacy and like how do they live on in the people that remember them, both their fans and their family and the idols who come after them, and it's really interesting. And Phantom of the Idol, it's a fun show, but it doesn't really touch on like any of that.
It's just a comedy.
It's just a straight up comedy. And like there are a couple moments where I saw somebody using my merch to cheer on a different idol, and it just kind of made me feel bad. And that's like a conversation that they do have in one episode, but I mean, it's not like a lingering thing throughout the entire show. For the most part, it is focused on the comedy. And while it was refreshing, it kind of was not what I was expecting. And so, again, it's not a bad thing. I just kind of went into this show expecting something different.
Yeah.
And it's because I've been cursed. Cursed Idol October is me, actually.
It's about Star's curse of the idols.
It's about me and my constant need for drama.
The idols that haunt Star.
They haunt the narrative and they haunt me.
Just like the Gekidol hole.
Oh, what's in the hole? Spoiler alert, there is no hole. Anyway,
hey, Star.
Yeah?
Based on your metrics that you gave, does Zombieland Saga count?
No. Because they are still present and people can still... So in Selection Project, it was like, there was no actual ghost. It was just like the character was dead and people kept making constant references back to her. And like one of the main characters is a sibling of the dead idol. And then another character literally has the idol's heart because she was an organ donor. And then when she died, the main character got a heart transplant. And then, the heart of the idol lives on.
Yeah. No, based on the metrics of everything that you gave, even though they are corporeal enough to be seen, like even just judging like only on Lily's episode, all of those things are present in it.
That's fair. I guess it's just, for me, it's more of a granular thing like ghosts versus zombies and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. This is more of a semantics question.
Yeah. Because, in that case, then, like Oshinoko would also count as like dead idol haunts the narrative and affects things even after their death. Yeah.
Ghost idol, or like the Phantom who haunted the theater even after he disappeared from society.
We are going to keep doing this. I hope you guys are ready.
Please do not ask me to sing the soprano part right now.
It's been 15 minutes and we have barely talked about this show. I hope you guys are freaking ready for whatever the hell this episode is going to be.
To be honest, here's my thoughts of the show. There's not a lot of plot.
We're commenting on the content of the show.
So we'll do. Why don't we do a quick summary? Because there's not a lot of plot.
There's not. I mean, we can still kind of like do the major beats of each episode, but it's a lot of it's gags.
So let's get into it. So episode 1, we see Zinx They are not that popular, but they do have some fans, and these fans you will regularly see throughout all the episodes, which is actually very fun.
Can I make a quick comment about the fangirls real quick? I was so confused in the first episode because the manager who I don't even know if the manager has a name, but they have a manager, and she is a pretty lady with glasses and hair that has like a swoopy bang on one side. And one of the fangirls is an older woman with glasses and swoopy bangs on the exact same side. And I thought they were the same person for a really long time. And I was very confused about why the manager is suddenly chewing them out. And then she's in the audience fangirling for one of the boys. And I was like, hello?
Yep, different character. But there are these 3 fans that do regularly show up and do not work for the idols.
Here's the thing. That would make an even better idol show of like someone pretending that they don't actually like the idols and like grifting their way into becoming into a manager or a PA position so they can be closer to their idol. But horror, they have to act like super serious, and they end up being being way too tough on the idol in an effort to distance themselves and not give their position away. The drama.
The drama. Da 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 da.
And that fangirl's name, Christine.
Da 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 da.
So but the Zings concert, they're not as good as whatever opera exists. They don't have that many fans, and
there's no chandelier.
Part of that is because our main guy, Nyoto, he's putting in the minimum effort.
He sucks.
He sucks.
He's like, he doesn't know the words of their music. He barely knows the choreography. He doesn't like do any kind of like chit chat with the audience. Basically, the heft of the like idol work is put on his partner, whose name is Yoshino. He's cute. He's a little blonde boy.
He's like a golden retriever of a character.
He really is, and he looks like one too. He's precious baby boy.
He's the red one.
He has a pink shirt.
But yeah, our guy Nyoto is just like very bland looking. He's just got like kind of flippy brown hair and just squinty little eyes, and he's just like meh. I don't like. He's not moe. He's got those like anime eyes that I love, where his pupils are just like little dots, and he just looks tired all the time, and I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
And so he's at the back of the music venue, and he looks over, and who does he see but Asahi, the ghost girl.
Asahi. So he's the only one who can see her, and Asahi is so fucking cute. I love her so much. She's got like, she's your stereotypical Genki pink main character. She's got like short pink hair, and she's always wearing her idol costume, which is just like these multi-layered frilly skirts and a big old bow. She almost looks a little clownish at times.
Yeah.
And she's got like a little wisp of light on her head, so you know she's a ghost, and she's like partially transparent, and she's always floating a little bit.
And she gets in a fight, like an oral argument with Nyoto about being an idol, basically. And by doing so, she like goes to like tackle him, and then when she does so, she possesses him. Whoa!
And so she is somehow able to know the choreography immediately. And so she ends up going on stage and performing for him. And it's very funny because the way that she is an idol is extremely different from Nyoto's like actual quote unquote persona that's just his personality. And so all of his fans sees like he goes on stage and suddenly has like this really Genki, excitable demeanor, and everyone is shocked and confused, but they kind of love it. And so he goes on stage, does the little concert, and then like everyone's like, oh my God, what happened to Nyoto? I don't know, but I love it. Give me all of his merch.
And the other thing that to note here, again, I think Athena touched on it earlier, you do get like a whole song, which is impressive, again, for an anime based off of a manga.
Yeah. Now we should talk about this for a second.
Yes,
because
that's fair.
The animation is not great.
No, it's bad. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good.
Yeah, the animation is not, like, great. It's a little flat. It's a little awkward, especially, like, the arms kind of look, like, very blocky. The one other thing that I want to say, which is a beef I had the entire show.
Beef.
Sarah, Athena, my sweet beloved friends, be honest with me. What do you think about their idol outfits?
Oh, they suck, but it's pointed out that they suck in the show, too.
They're really bad. But I thought they were supposed to be bad on purpose. Like, they're super low budget.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be bad on purpose.
Like, because half of their, two-person team sucks, they have no budget. So it's just kind of like terrible color blazers.
True, but, like, the thing is, I don't mind, like, the goofy colored outfits so much. It's the fur.
It's the fur.
Why does it look like they have worms around their necks like a travel pillow?
Yeah.
It looks like a big fucking worm.
Look, their PA was just like, look, this is what we have laying around and it's in your budget. Take it or leave it.
Got crazy with the hot glue gun.
Worm neck ruffle, worm neck fur. I hate it. Just get rid of the fur. Just get rid of the worm, and these outfits suddenly become passable. Just get rid of the travel pillow neck worms.
Look, it's the new craze. You know how the kids were like all about worm on a string?
Now it's all about worm around your neck, baby.
Worm on an idol. Worm on an idol.
Would you
worm
still
on these
love?
boys.
Would you still love
Worm
your
on
top
those
idol?
boys.
Would you still love your top idol if they were wearing a worm?
I would die if my favorite idol made it to the Wormicon.
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 That's where all the worms
My new
perform.
favorite anime.
I like how we're just coming
Inventing
up with all
better
these
idol shows.
bangers. Yeah. Come on, anime industry, get in my inbox.
We're on top of this.
We are just trendsetters. We
Just
are influencers.
Just trendsetters, just like a furry collar.
All right, I thought you were gonna stop a word early in that sentence.
No, it's
but
okay.
I was-
Furries wear collars too.
They do also. That's true. Let's
It's
go.
different, though. I don't think the furry collars usually look like worms, though.
They could.
They could.
Star, you just came up with a new
Star.
idea.
Merch.
Now, okay, granted. If someone, I'm sure that this has to have been done. Someone has to have come up with a worm on the string the size of like a giant feather boa and worn it.
Oh,
I do have worm on a string earrings. That's about the closest that I could tell you.
Worm on earring.
Worm on earring.
Episode 2.
So, again, these are lots of what happens on these episodes are gags. So the episode 1, there's not a lot, but and there are also a lot of, like, again, when there's concerts, you see the full song, even if, right, the animation's mid, it's still fun to hear the full song because the music sounds good. But that being said, there's not a lot of content otherwise to talk about. So episode 2, it's pretty much that Asahi...
It's just kind of them getting used to the routine.
Yeah, Asahi wants to become top idol and practice a lot, and Yodo's like, I hate practicing, I want to be home.
Yeah.
And then they come to some sort of agreement, basically.
Yeah, in this episode in particular, there's like it's a little bit, so the end of this episode is funny, because Asahi is like, she talks about how she hasn't moved on yet because she thinks she still has lingering regrets, and it's like, do I still want to be an idol? Do I still like want to do this? And she, in this episode, like towards the end, is like, I thought that I hadn't moved on because I really loved being an idol and I wanted to do it again. But Nyoto, you gave me that opportunity and I got to be an idol one last time thanks to you. And she starts like fading away.
Yeah.
And it's like this genuinely very funny but also kind of fucked up moment where it's like she's like giving this speech and she's like, I'm just so happy that I got to have a chance to be on stage one more time and you helped me have that dream come true. Like, what would be the last episode of the anime in any other show. Yep. But Nyoto sees this and he's like, no, wait, if she leaves then I have to do more work. Asahi, are you sure this is really what you want? Do you really want it to end here?
Look,
and
to be fair, that was the funniest joke.
It was very funny because, like, you can visual, like, everybody in the audience knows he is just bullshitting this like motivational speech, and he's like actively visually sweating and nervous the entire time. He's like, if she leaves, then I'm gonna have to put in effort, and I don't want to. Asahi, don't leave now. You've only just begun. Don't you want to see what we can accomplish together? And she ends up not leaving, and she stays, and it's very funny.
Yeah, because she just wants to be an idol more, and she's like, okay.
It's like, okay, I guess I can stick around and be an idol, and it's fine. And so she does.
So next episode, they try to figure out what Nyoto's persona should be.
Yeah, because the fangirls have kind of, like, given Nyoto this, like, they've noticed that sometimes during his performances, he's just kind of a low-effort douchebag, but sometimes he has what the fangirls started calling God mode, which is when he suddenly takes on the persona of this extremely genki idol. And, you know, the fangirls don't know that he's possessed. They just think he's got, like, some kind of personality switch going on. And so at the start of this episode, Nyoto and Asahi are trying to figure out, it's like, okay, what is your actual persona? What's something that, like, where's the middle that we can meet in so that we don't confuse your fans? And the end result of this episode, aside from the funny gag of them trying to make him an edgy boy and, like, coming up with this dumb costume for him that gave me the giggles, including butt wings.
Butt wings.
Is they just decide, nah, maybe it's fine and we don't need that. Maybe the fangirls can just be confused.
And I know that at least in the manga, I don't remember how it was translated in the anime because I read the manga more recently. They just talk about how, like, Nyoto, it's like the Nyoto gacha. Like, is it gonna, are you going to pull SSS Nyoto or just regular Nyoto?
Yeah, I watched, full disclosure, I watched the dub of the anime, and I didn't read the manga at all, and they call it God mode, but gotcha jokes are in there, but I think less frequent because they're not sure. I guess the translators weren't sure exactly how well that would fly.
Note.
Yeah, translators note, Keikaku means plan. Just like a paragraph shows up on the screen for like 5 seconds and does not give you long enough to read it, just explaining all the relevant gotcha mechanics. And then it disappears before you can even finish the first line.
Speaking of that personality disparity, though, shout out to Nyoto's voice actor.
Yeah, the voice actor.
Real,
such a good job between, like, when he's just Nyoto and when he's Asahi pretending to be Nyoto and is using his voice. Night and day difference. For the first part, I thought it was two different voice actors.
Yeah, Athena and I started in Japanese. Every once in a while, I would switch to English just because I wanted to hear the voice acting, and English also went hard. So
yeah.
Great voice acting.
Let's go.
And the other thing to hold on, brain. Never mind, we can move on. I don't remember. Episode 4, it's the fan meetup. So this is largely the fans are having this big, I guess, like monthly it happens regularly enough where they have this rock paper scissors tournament, and whichever fan wins rock paper scissors against the idol basically gets to take a selfie with whichever idol they choose. And so you get a lot of the fans in this one. Just so you know, all of Nyoto's fans are really unhinged. Up until this point, they've basically been starving for any sort of content. So if Nyoto says anything, they do, like, you know, the Sherlock deep dive into it, right? So they all are listening in, planning their rock, paper, scissors. It gets so intense at the end that all the fans end up fighting. Asahi is like, I can't let the fans fight, possesses Nyoto, and then is like, why don't I just take a picture with my Zing's partner?
And you guys can take pictures and decide our poses and stuff.
And just like Sherlock, everyone was really normal about that.
So my favorite part of this episode is kind of a gag that is going on between Nyoto and Asahi kind of the entire time. So you find out that Nyoto and Asahi have been playing rock, paper, scissors to decide who does the idol work for the day for a while. And Nyoto's like, if I get better at rock, paper, scissors and I trounce all the fans and I train really hard at rock, paper, scissors, then I can just make Asahi do all of my idol work from here on and I don't want to have to do anything. And so he takes the rock, paper, scissors like really seriously, but then he ends up beating all of the fans. And then it's like, well, shit, what do we do now?
That's not what you're supposed to do.
Oops a doodle. It's very funny.
And at the very end of the episode, all of the fans have a meetup together, like a post-meetup, and they find out, before our idols do, that Zings is going to be on Hottie Farm.
Hottie Farm, the Hot Boys Farmers Market.
Yep.
Which is a great name for a concert.
I mean,
I want to know how many people show up to that every year thinking it's an actual farmers market.
I don't think they would be disappointed.
I mean, true. I wouldn't be. Let's go.
Have some idol time? Let's go.
Yeah. Listen, it happened at least twice when I lived in Japan when I just accidentally stumbled into an idol concert. I would not be disappointed if that happened more frequently.
Especially if you thought you were just going to the farmer's market and then they hand you a light stick and you're like, oh, hey, here I am. Who needs vegetables anyways?
Literally, my friend and I went to visit Osaka, and we were literally just like wandering around a park, and I shit you not, this sounds so fake, but this is exactly how it happened. We were walking around a park in downtown Osaka, and I just hear on the wind cute girl music, and I'm like, Kayla, I need to go see what that is.
My people are calling.
I hear the call of my people.
I hear them calling in the air tonight. Da da da
Sing
da da.
for me. Sing for me, angel of music. Sing for me.
And we like hunted it down, and it turned out to be like an indie idol showcase, and we sat and watched it for a while, and it was really fun. And then like a couple months later, my brother and I were just like milling around in Odaiba actually, and we stumbled upon Tokyo Idol Fest. Did not know it was going to be there. We just wanted to go see the big Gundam, but you know what was happening right under the big Gundam? Idol show.
And then you kidnapped them and brought them into your underground canal.
Sarah, people can't know about my underground canal.
You promised you wouldn't talk about the canal.
You're right.
You can't talk about my canal, Sarah. The secret canal where I keep all my secret idols.
Masquerade. Anyways, Hottie Farm is Hottie Farm. There's a bunch of boys. They're singing, and some of the boys that are there are Zings, but some of the boys that are there are from the rival ? Or a different idol group named Seagrass.
Objective worst boy idol name I could ever think of.
Seagrass with a capital. It's the letter C and then grass,
which makes it worse.
So you only have to know one of these boys.
Yep.
But I feel the need to point out that one of the other boys, whose name you don't need to remember, is literally just James from Pokemon. Literally just, did anybody else notice that?
Yeah, he did kind of look like that, huh?
Literally just James from Pokemon.
But the character you do need to remember, and there's only one, but he's actually great. He's Setouchi, and he has grayish hair and glasses, and he seems kind of intense, but he's just like really like serious about being an idol, like not in like a tearing down people way, just like the, you know, like the blue ones tend to be.
Yeah.
Star did say well, that might be later.
Hang on here. I found a picture of a lineup of the Seagrass boys. Second from the left, you cannot tell me that is not just James from Pokemon.
Yeah, the hair's, it looks about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally the exact same hair.
We know nothing about his personality, though.
Nope.
Nothing.
We don't know anything about these other fucking punks. I just know it's like, I was just like doing the Leonardo DiCaprio point at my screen when I saw.
So, Star, what do you think about our one Seagrass boy who matters?
Best boy.
I figured.
Best boy.
You love weird nerds.
I love weird nerds! I put them in my canal! That everybody knows about now! No thanks to Sarah!
You're right.
I'm gonna have to move them somewhere else because the police are gonna come and look in my canal!
Just have to walk out of the crypt. Yeah, I know.
Sarah, it's like that guy on TikTok who has an eel pit under his house. I have my idol pit.
It's just like Phantom of the Opera, that eel pit.
I'm gonna
just
find,
like that.
Based only on that unhinged description, I'm gonna find that TikTok and then edit idol boy faces on top of the eels.
No, Athena, this is literally a thing. You will find it if you...
I do not doubt it. I've been on the internet since the inception. I know.
Da, 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 da. Do not cite the old magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written.
God.
We do all know that Athena is ages and eras old. Do not worry. That is why I resurrected her from
I created the first eel pit.
It's my eel pit, right next to Star's idol pit.
Wait, are we talking about pits, Star? That's the narrative that haunts you, right?
Oh no! That's where I live. In the Gekino
pit.
Illuminati
confirmed.
Confirmed. Anyway, Satoshi best boy. He's a little unhinged and I like him.
Yeah, so you don't hear a lot about him in this episode, but this is where you first meet him. And you realize that he becomes a major character when our Zings boys have their concert and Asahi is piloting and she's just so excited about being an idol. She performs the forbidden technique.
And she whiffs it because she's not used to having legs that long. And she just does a flip right off the stage.
The forbidden technique.
Fucking funny. She just goes to do a cartwheel and she just disappears off the side of the screen. It's like someone just picked her up in Photoshop and translated her to the left across the stage. She just, whoo, she's gone. It's like, how do you beef it that badly?
Mid-song.
Mid-song, she just fucking whiffs it. She just, the forbidden technique, and she just disappears.
Yep.
It's so funny.
But for their concert, they are rescued, or rather, Asahi is rescued by Saruchi, and he grabs, Nyoto Asahi's hand and sings their solo as they walk back on stage together, and the audience is like, oh, the forbidden technique off stage was planned to bring the Seagrass member up.
And that's to help it. It's a crossover. I get it. And everybody thinks it was planned. It was not.
It was not planned. It was not planned.
But yeah, and so there's a little bit of, this idol boy actually kind of knows our boys, knows our Zings boys. That's kind of interesting. Us as the audience is thinking this is just okay. Wonder what that's about, and you find out at the end of the episode. Because before the very last scene, Nyoto goes to thank him for helping, and Satoshi gets really intense when it's just the two of them alone, and he's like, what's your relationship with Asahi? The idol who is dead and that no one else should know is here. And then we as the audience and also Nyoto are just like, what the fuck?
What's going on?
Can he see her? What, huh? The answer is no, he can't.
He can't.
The actual answer is much funnier. So at the end of the episode, after the credits, Satoshi shows up at Nyoto's house and threatens him at knife point. And when I say knife point, I mean penlight point.
Yep.
Which is
Asahi
extremely fun. And Asahi penlight specifically. And so over the course of the next episode, you find out that Satoshi was a mega fan of Asahi's while she was still alive. And she's still his Oshi. He still adores her enough to recognize that Nyoto has been using a lot of her quirks and body language on stage. And he basically goes full... I texted you guys when I got to this episode. He's like, okay, H-Bomber guy accusing him of plagiarism. Idaru plagiarism!
You copied Asahi Mogami. She poses like this. She talks like this. She claps her hands together. You did her special little wink at this point. You're plagiarizing her.
The forbidden technique? You are trying to steal her thunder after her death. You are a disgrace, and I will not stand for it. And if I continue to see you copying Asahi in this way, I will cancel you on Twitter.
And, at the same time, he's getting... So he starts, attending all the Zings concerts. He takes a bunch of pictures of Nyoto. He goes to the handshake events and buys as many handshake minutes as he can.
Just to degrade him and be an asshole. And it's honestly really funny.
It's the type of character that would be Star's favorite character, everybody. I knew it. I knew you would love him.
I love a little freak with glasses, okay?
True.
I love a little freak with glasses and a cute ponytail and a backstory.
Yeah.
So that's why you were roommates with Sarah.
Oh.
Whoa, I am a little glasses
Sarah?
freak.
With a backstory.
My backstory, well, I used to be a big name in this beautiful theater, the Star.
Oh.
And then a horrible accident burned half my face.
Oh.
And now I haunt the theater. Dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
But anyways, Idol show. This all happens alongside a sports thing.
We don't care
It
about
doesn't
the
matter.
sports thing.
Idols are sports. We all know this. This is something
Idols
that
is sports.
we've already learned this. We're pros at this.
But yeah, so the important thing is that when he first threatens Nyoto, Asahi was not there. And so Nyoto does not tell Asahi right away. She finds out when she is possessing him, and they like end up alone together in like the nurse's office or whatever. And Satoshi starts like going off, is like, I see you're still copying Asahi, and then Asahi, like, I remember like kind of enjoying this scene because it's like, oh, she realizes, like, oh, I still have fans that care about me that much.
Yeah.
It's a little freaky what he's doing, but, like, that's really sweet, actually.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, good for you, girl.
Because-
Your Stan's a freak.
Because she loves being an idol and she loves having idol fans. Idols are her personality.
Yes. And we love that for her.
Yes, we love Asahi.
But yeah, so in the rest of the episode, also there's a concert, and Asahi's like, you know, I bet he's such a hater because he actually likes you. And over the course of the episode is like Satoshi coming to grips with that. And then at some point, he's like, no, but I can't stan you because I stan Asahi, and she's my forever girl. And then Nyoto's like, why don't you just have two favorites? And Satoji's like, what the fuck? I can't have two favorites? What are you talking about? And he like runs away and leaves, and then he's all blushy. He's like, maybe he doesn't mind if I stan both of them? Oh my god.
Are you suggesting that he has two waifus, Star? That's against the rules.
I know. Well, you can't have more than one bias. It's against idol rules. The one other part of this episode that I thought was just like a great, like, again, it's a gag anime, so it's mostly jokes, but there was a scene where Satoshi was like waving Asahi's light stick, and then during the concert where like he realizes he did actually like Nyoto, he turns off her light stick and turns on his, and you're like, oh.
He do stan.
The other thing to note about him is during the time he thought he was a hater, he was running a hater blog.
And it's very funny because, again, the Nyoto fangirls are so starved for content. They're like, wow, look at all the effort that somebody made into compiling this website. So it's like, even though it's a hate website, it's like, all these new pictures of our boy, amazing! And it's very funny.
I know in the manga also, so he starts being seen at concerts a lot. So when he goes to the concerts, he wears a disguise. He wears like a scarf on his head and glasses so no one knows he's part of Seagrass. So all the Nyoto fans call him Mr. Scarf, and they're like, Mr. Scarf runs the website. He's the biggest Nyoto fan. And you're like, oh, yowie.
The ships write themselves.
Ships write themselves.
Although I wonder what the yaoi wars are like between Nyoto and Yoshino, like the two idol boys together, or Nyoto and Seagrass boy Satoshi.
I'm sure in this fictional idol universe, the fans are divided.
I'm sure they're so normal about that.
So normal.
Just like all idol fans who are known for being
Just
normal.
like all yaoi fans.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
So the other thing that you find out is that Zings is about to have a second anniversary concert soon.
And it baffles me
Yep.
that they've been at this for so long, honestly.
2 years of it.
I feel like it would have been a little bit more believable if it was their first anniversary.
Yep.
But there's something about, like, it's their second anniversary and they still kind of suck that
Yeah.
I guess is also kind of believable. I guess what's unbelievable is that Nyoto stayed that long.
Yeah.
They've had like 5
Because
shows
he can't be
total.
earning much.
He's too lazy to look for another job.
You know what? I'll accept that answer. But yeah, we have episode 8's like mostly just gags and silly little fillers, so we don't have to talk about it too much. Basically, they're putting on like different outfits and for a calendar that they're putting together, and like a large part of this episode is dedicated to the fans like freaking out. It's like, we can request costumes for the calendar, put them in glasses, put them in a beach wear. Oh my god. And that's like the entire episode,
basically. So then the next episode, we're in the anniversary concert, pretty much, like leading up to it. You get all like the practice before the concert. You find out that they get a big venue, and they're like, can we really fill up that many seats? But I guess other half of Zings, the good boy, he did get a role in the drama, which got him a lot of popularity. So Zings is actually up and coming, mostly because of the one guy. And then it's time for a concert day, and Asahi is like, Nyoto, this is a really important day. You've come so far. It's all because of you, but also all your fans and everyone else. And I think you really do deserve to be up there. I can't take that away from you.
And Nyoto's like, you sure? And so Nyoto like spends most of the concert thinking that Asahi is planning on passing on after this concert because it's just like such a big event and all this stuff. And like they've actually managed to fill this pretty large venue, and Nyoto himself is even pretty impressed that like so many people are there and even like cheering him on as well. And it's like he's kind of like blasé about it, just the way he narrates it, but you can tell it's like it's affecting him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he does have fans. He's like, that's kind of cool. He's like, well, these people came here to see me. I don't want to let them down. I guess I should put on like a good show or whatever. But he's just like constantly looking up at Asahi in the audience, and he's like, she hasn't passed on yet. What gives? Last episode is the rest of the concert, and the entire first half of this episode is basically just the concert.
Yep. It's, and like half of them are songs we've already heard, but they give like one or two songs that are new, which again is like wild for a show that's based off of a manga that does not have any indication of having a season 2 or any multimedia spinoff. Pretty wild.
And it's only 10 episodes.
It's short, yeah.
But yeah, so they finish their concert, and before they go on for their encore, there's this sweet little scene with Nyoto and Asahi, and Nyoto's like, hey, why haven't you passed on yet? I thought you were going to, since we like made it to this big, you know, like kind of triumphant moment. And Asahi's like, I'm not gonna pass on. I've had so much fun, and I want to continue to make this group as best as it can be, and so you should go on for your encore now. And then there's this really sweet moment where he kind of like offers her his hand, and he's like, well, there's one member of Zings who hasn't performed yet.
Yeah.
And so she takes over for the last number, which is like their little ballad, and it's really sweet. Yeah. I'm like, aw, that's a good way to end it. That's cute.
So that was the main plot of Phantom of the iDOL. Dun 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 dun. But I will give you a sneak peek into the future. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, the manga. I actually was curious because you guys said that you read the manga, and I'm like, I'm curious how much of the manga the anime actually covers.
Not very much. So yeah, there's actually there's a decent amount later too. So, but the important thing is you do get some more characters. One good character you get later on is one of Asahi's former group members, who ever since Asahi died. This is spoiler territory, by the way, everyone. So pause for fast forward to 10 minutes if you need to. Who does start training herself, goes to Shinto and Buddhist temples because she wants to communicate with Asahi in the afterlife because she was in love with her.
Oh, I see.
And does end up feeling a whiff of Asahi, so she starts knowing what's going on. There's definitely some interesting conversations that happen between the Zings members on what is really going on with Nyoto. Dun dun. So some teasers there, and then so there's I don't know, Athena, if you know for sure. I read a lot of them digitally, but I know that they exist physically because I checked out the last one from the library, so I've read further than Athena. But I think the anime only covers like 2 or 3 volumes, so not very many compared to like the 7 that are out.
I was about to ask how many are out now.
7 in English. I think there are more otherwise, but it's fun.
Oh, I was going to say, that's interesting to hear because, like, one of the... I talked about how the show, like, kind of didn't match my expectations, not in a bad way, just in an interesting way. One of the things that I was expecting more of from this show was more of the kind of body-swapping shenaniganery of it all.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
Like, yeah. Well, it's more just... when I say that, I mean specifically, like, other people catching on.
Gotcha.
That's just, like, less of the, whoa, I'm in a guy's body. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I very specifically am talking about, like, other people catching on to, it's like, hey, you're, like, really different, though. What's the deal?
Yeah.
And then kind of figuring it's like he's possessed. What if he is? And, like, kind of the more of, like, intrigue of that. I expected more of that. And so, like, I kind of love that. I love a thing with, like, intrigue and secret identities. I've rambled about it in my videos before. And so I was, like, a little disappointed that the anime didn't have more of that. But it's interesting to hear that that's more a thing later on in the manga.
It is later on in the manga. Though it's still, like, it's still, like, in the pita shell of comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's still like the one girl being like, I can kind of see ghosts, so I know what's going on. And it's funny, rather than, like, I've been searching for my dead friend forever, and it's a drama. So it's not really like that.
I'm honestly kind of surprised that the original fangirls for Nyoto, I thought they were going to like him better when he was, like, aloof and didn't care.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be, like, a running gag. But then it was like, no, we just like him more this way. And it's like, oh, well, why'd you become fans in the first place then?
Yeah, that did kind of feel a little bit weird to me.
It was very strange to me.
I mean, but if you think about what they see, they hear the music, which is good. He does actually do his stuff in the concert because he doesn't want to have to do do-overs. And then, like, at the point that you're there enough and you like the music and you're going to the concerts all the time, the one time in, like, 5 concerts he gives you a smile, it's like, oh, my heart is melting.
True, I suppose. But yeah, it's just like, you'd think that they'd be more as like, why is he all Genki and smiley? That's not my Nyoto. And, like, that's kind of where I expected some of the, like, tomfoolery to come from. It was just like, what? I guess there was a lot of that. It just didn't go, like, quite as hard as I expected to. It just kind of ended up getting brushed off a lot of just like, oh, no, he's fine like this, actually. And, like, the fangirls were really into it. But I kind of wanted to see, like, maybe one of the fangirls really liked him being more aloof and doesn't give a damn. And then when he's, like, quote unquote God mode, she's like, what has happened to my boy?
True.
And that's what I thought was going to happen, like, when they're having that conversation in the restaurant in episode 1.
Yeah. The Nyoto fans have been through so much that they don't really have any sense of normalcy.
True.
So, Star and Athena, what did you think overall? Who did you enjoy? What did you like and what did you not like?
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of gave my opinions already, but I'll summarize. It was not what I was expecting going into it. I do kind of want to read the manga now just to get a little bit more of that taste of, like, the shenaniganery and, like, the secret identities. Like, oh, can't let people find out I'm getting possessed for all my concerts type of energy that I was craving and didn't really get from the anime. But I mean, like, overall, if you're looking for, like, kind of a surprisingly lighthearted and cutesy anime, I thought it was very cute. It focused more on the fangirls than I thought it was going to.
Definitely.
Which I think is kind of a mixed bag. Because it's like, on the one hand, while I do enjoy seeing, like, how the audience reacts to certain things, I almost feel like we got too much of them and not as much as a, like, proper development for the rest of the characters, maybe. Yeah. But again, it's a comedy and not a drama, so that's the kind of thing you can kind of hand wave a little bit, so.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not for me, but I still thought it was cute and I enjoyed my time watching it. B+.
I liked the music. I actually thought it was really fun. Like, I liked a lot of the minor characters. Like, I thought the fangirls were fun, even though wish there was a little bit more of them. I think I'm really glad that they didn't get like awkward with the body swappy stuff. That's something I was a little concerned about going in, and I'm really glad they didn't. I'm sad there wasn't more character development for especially like our main two, right? Or for his partner, but overall I thought it was pretty fine.
Yeah, and that's definitely the thing in general. As me too. I agree, Athena, where I like character a lot. Forewarning anyone who reads it, the character development is definitely slower in the manga. They make him seem like he cares even a little bit more in the anime than he does in the manga at this point.
Oh, wow.
yeah. This guy don't care at all. There's not a lot of character development. But the gags are funny when they're funny. And the music was really good, which is wild. Because I wasn't expecting it from something based off of a manga.
Yeah, I remember thinking the one thing about the music that struck me was how diverse the music was.
Yeah.
Because it's like they've got, kind of like a one or two, like kind of, your stereotypical idol songs. And then they have one that's more like kind of edgy and rockish. They've got a ballad. It's just like there's range there. And it was interesting.
And overall thoughts on Phantom of the Opera.
Da 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 da.
Edru Ledru Webdrew is gonna come in here and sue all of you.
I'm sorry, say that name one more time.
Edru Ledru Webdrew.
Dun 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 dun.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
Probably.
So for everyone who is listening, this has been our Cursed Idol October episode. Next time you hear from us, we will probably be mid-December. We are going to do our Christmas special.
We're taking the month off because we're tired.
And there's a lot of holidays coming for us, and then also for all of you, where we do want to try to have these anime watch-alongs. What we encourage all of you to do during this time until the next episode is to send us any idol Christmas music that might have come out recently that we missed, or older idol Christmas music that we have not covered before. The other fun thing you can always do too is to go back and listen to our previous Christmas playlists. They are linked on our Discord, and I will relink them when I make the thread for our Christmas episode.
Yes. And I'll make sure to put it in the description of this episode on our various platforms so that you can find that there.
Wahoo!
Yeah. But yeah, and then as far as everything else, if you haven't already, please go subscribe to our new YouTube channel. We are 3/4 of the way to monetization over there, where we can finally start like earning a little bit of cash from the ad revenue on our podcast, and then for just like YouTube ads, and then we can maybe scrounge up enough every month to pay for our various like
to feed the idols and Stars Idol Pit.
Yes, they're very expensive. But yeah, so subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We are on pretty much, like, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. I haven't really been updating them very much because my scheduler doesn't let me switch accounts anymore. But yes, we also have a Discord and a website, and all of those will be linked in the description of whatever platform you are listening to this show on. So we encourage you to come and check us out on our various platforms, and we hope you have enjoyed this episode.
Yes, and also, Athena, if people ever want to contact you, what sort of dark rituals of the night do you recognize?
Don't.
Yay!
Send her Toho Girls on Tumblr.
You have to find
if you can find it.
Find my forbidden Tumblr.
You print the JPEGs and you burn them under a full moon.
And the smoke materializes on Athena's Tumblr page.
If you choose the wrong one, you die instantly.
Yeah,
so be careful.
You gotta be careful with your forbidden rituals.
You wake up in a dark forest, you find a piece of paper on the ground, find my seven forbidden tumblers.
Oh my god. Just give Athena $20.
I know that's a Slender Man reference, but my mind also went to like a Scott Pilgrim thing. You have to fight my 7 evil Blorbos.
Same thing, really. What is Slender Man?
What is Slender Man?
Who is not a Slender Man but Michael Cera?
Michael Cera, the ultimate Slender Man.
And that'll be it for this episode. Thank you guys for joining us today. As always, we've been Lady. See you next live.
Bye.